Hello, this is Chrystal Meach with Dow of the Heart, and today my guest is Traci Poe. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I love our time together. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Me too. So Tracy has a company called Communicate Great. So I want to just start by saying, how did you get started with Communicate Great?
So I have a background in communication. I have 2 degrees in it, and I've been in the nonprofit world forever, different nonprofits, but it was always doing things within that communication umbrella. And close to 2 years ago, man, work doing nonprofit stuff, you can get burnt out pretty easily. And so after 20 whatever years of doing different things, I needed to walk away. So I walked away in May of whatever, 21, I think is when it was. And long story, but I had felt called to do retreats and workshops and work with people on their communication skills. And so after I walked away, I started looking at corporate jobs. And the more I looked at them, I just thought, I can't. So I started Communicate Great. God just kind of put that in my heart. And there you go, Communicate Great.
Wow. And could you tell us a little bit more about how it works, like what you have
Sure.
available?
Sure. So I will try to make this as succinct as possible because it's a lot. So when I think about Communicate Great, I really want to work with people, whether it's in their personal life or their professional life. And it truly is about helping people connect with the important people. So for business, it could look like working with you on your presentation skills or your public speaking skills. So that could be a virtual stage or a physical stage, but really that's also about helping you build your know, like, and trust. And so I work with people on getting their message out, getting that visibility and that credibility message out to the world. For work, it could also be groups or your teams. I come in and do workshops, communication skills. So it could be listening or verbal, nonverbal, or conflict, or giving and receiving feedback, those kinds of things. So we do either team building exercises or just a workshop, but my workshops are always very, very interactive. For your personal side, it could be that maybe you have a message that you want to get out to the world. So I say for public speaking, whether a company, a cause, or you have a message you want to get out, I can still work with you if it's really just about something that you feel called to get out, not for your job, maybe for a nonprofit or not. I can help you with that. But then again, it's also about building those interpersonal communication skills. And so either way, I have a podcast, the Communicate Great podcast, which you will be on soon. You're coming on as my guest. I'm excited about that. But we talk about building communication skills, tips and tricks. Again, whether it's for your business life or for your personal life. So have tips and tricks on social media. You can always opt in and join an email. So those are some ways, and looking forward to getting some retreats going in that personal area to help people connect with others at that deeper level. And so then you're talking to yourself, self-talk as well. And I think that's one of the areas that you'll be coming on when you're on my podcast. We'll be kind of talking about that, listening to yourself, self-talk. Because one of the things is we are so quick to tear ourselves down. We
Oh
are
yeah.
so quick to say ugly, hateful things that we might not ever say to somebody else, but we don't hesitate to say them to ourselves. And
Yes.
so those are kind of the major areas. Now I have two other areas, women in business, connecting with women in business. And that's the Oh Yes I Can Women in Business events. And so we try to do either a virtual or an in-person event once a month. And that stems from, I really believe women have to support each other in business. And we need to see each other as collaborators and not competitors. And so that is that area. And then I will be building out later in this year, 2020, kind of the same model of the women in business connecting with the women in business, but nonprofits connecting with nonprofits. I want to build a network. And even though I walked away from the nonprofit world, it's still in my heart, right? I am no longer doing nonprofit stuff, but I still am committed to nonprofits because I just think without nonprofits in our society, in the world, we'd have a whole lot of, I don't know, worse situations, if that makes sense. So I really am still dedicated to nonprofits. So I'll just be going at it from a different way than the 20 plus whatever years when I was working with nonprofits. So those are all of the things that we do. I may have forgotten stuff. And later at the end, I do want to talk about one of our newer communities, the Know Thyself community. So if I forget, please remind me to
Okay.
talk about that.
All right. I just kind of wanted to dive into your podcast
Okay.
because I think how did you get started with it? What were some of the episodes that you started with?
So here is how I got started with it. My daughter, one of my daughters, was helping me at the very beginning of Communicate Great. And one day she said, Mom, we're going to do a podcast. And I said, yeah, that's on my list for, we'll get to that. She said, no, today. Have I told you this story?
Oh, I don't remember
Okay.
this part.
So she said, no, we're doing it today. And I'm like, I am a deliberator. I need to think things through. I have to do research. I have to have everything lined. I have to have my list. She's like, no, today. And I'm like fighting her. So she talks me into it, but we have no equipment. So we take my laptop, we get a box. I mean, we knew nothing about podcasts. We got a box. I took my black puffy winter coat, stuffed it into this box, put the laptop in the box to try to make some kind of sound booth or whatever. So we're leaning forward because we're not doing video at this point. We're just doing the audio. We're leaning forward, sitting side by side, almost our heads into the box, talking to my laptop. And that was how we did our very first episode, which was hilarious. Like, if somebody could have seen it, it would have been so funny. So we did audio for a while, and then we had to go to video because we would sit side by side. We tried to get two different mics. That didn't work. Technologically, it was a hot mess. So we would pass the mic back and forth, and there were times when she would not be feeling well and be coughing. So as I was leaning in, I would try to hold my breath to talk because I did not want to breathe her germs. So anyhow, it was just so much fun. And now she's so busy being a realtor that I really miss her. But a year ago, what we were doing, and this was her idea, was leading up to the five weeks up to Valentine's Day, we talked about the 5 love languages. And so we covered one a week going into Valentine's. And so she loves those. She grew up, she and her siblings, because I'm very much, I want to analyze myself. And when I taught college, I had my students analyze what are your strengths and where do you need to grow in these interpersonal skills. And so my kids would have to do these. We would have family time and I would have people do the assessments. So she grew up with that. So she really likes the 5 love languages. So that is what I wanted to talk about today because it's February.
Yeah.
And February is known as the month of love or the love month. And so I thought it would be fun to talk about the 5 love languages. So that was one of our topics, but the topics really are about just building your communication skills. Sometimes I have guests and sometimes I don't.
Oh, I love that. So, can you give us like a brief overview of the 5 love languages for anyone that doesn't know? I mean, if you're not on this planet.
Right. And it's funny because we hear people talking about the love languages, like they'll say, my love language is chocolate, or my love language is, going whatever. But I don't think a lot of people know the origin of the love languages. And it's funny, I have several books. Oh, let me just hold up. This is the original. It was originally a different cover, but this is and I have the other one, but I don't know where it is. This is the one I could grab. So, but I have other books on it because I just love love, if that makes sense. And I don't mean necessarily the romantic kind of love. I mean, I think as humans, we need to love and pour into each other, whether it's your neighbor, the stranger at the grocery store, having a hard time, whatever it is. We just need to love on each other. So when I say I love love, that's what I love. So the 5 love languages, Dr. Gary Chapman is a therapist, a counselor. And the story is that he started noticing in his therapy sessions that people would say things like, well, he just doesn't love me. She just doesn't love me. And so he called through his notes and figured out that there are really 5 primary ways that people want to receive love. And so I don't want to go through them all right now, but I want to just kind of unfold them because I want to talk a little bit about each one. So the first one and this isn't not necessarily his order because I don't think there is an order. This is just the order that I have them. So the first one is words of affirmation. And words of affirmation is my primary. Now, I really want to say that your primary love language can change throughout your life depending on what you're going through. So my primary used to be words of affirmation, then it was quality time, and now I'm back to words of affirmation as the primary. So I would say if you've taken the assessment years ago, take it again. Things may have changed for you, but words of affirmation. So I want to say what to avoid first. So if somebody has a primary love language of words of affirmation, one of the worst things you can do is criticize them or speak harshly to them. Because in the way that speaking somebody's love language like sends them soaring, right? Doing the opposite, doing the offense to them in that love language sends them plummeting. So if you are tearing me down in a really, now I'm not saying don't ever speak truth to somebody, but if you do, you better do it in love, right? Like you need to gently correct me, but don't do it harshly because my love language, that's going to just send me in this spiral, right? So the thing to avoid with the primary love language of words of affirmation, speaking harshly, criticizing, just negatively. So what you can do to speak my love language is you can compliment me. You can build me up. You can affirm who I am, affirm my value as a person. So when somebody devalues me, that gets in my head. So now when you're affirming somebody or complimenting them, you can do it verbally. You can speak it. You can write it, right? Write a love note. Hey, I just love the way you ... Stick it on a mirror, stick it on a sticky note, drop it into their, purse or briefcase or, laptop. When they open their laptop, there's the note, those kinds of things. But you can also do it non-verbally. So, your face tells so many stories. And so let's say I'm a guy and my wife, my girlfriend, my whatever, we're going on a nice date and she comes into the room just, all dolled up. I can speak something with my face, right? I can, raise my eyes, my eyebrows. I can put a big smile on my face. So we can speak somebody's love language to affirm them non-verbally as well as verbally. So that is words of affirmation. So the next one is quality time. Now, what to avoid there is if my love language is quality time and we're doing something together, but you're on your phone, you're looking around, you're doing whatever, and you are not focused on this time together, again, that instead of sending me soaring, that's going to send me plummeting, right? I'm not going to feel like you're investing in this time together. So what you can do for quality time is really be undistracted, be focused in on whatever you're doing, whether you're taking a walk or you're doing a hobby together, whatever that looks like, be all in, be present for the other person. All right, any questions so far before I go to the next one?
This is great.
Okay. All right. So giving gifts is the next one. Now, I have to say that sometimes when you hear, oh, giving gifts is somebody's primary love language, you might think, oh, they're greedy, whatever negative. But that is absolutely not the case, because you don't have to spend tons and tons of money every day on somebody whose primary love language is giving gifts. It is the thought that counts. It truly is. So what to avoid for somebody whose primary is giving gifts? Don't forget an important date for them, right? Don't ignore them on their birthday, on your anniversary, on whatever. And it can be on the negative side too. Let's say somebody has an anniversary of the passing of somebody that they really loved, right? That's a date too. It doesn't have to be a celebratory type of a date. If that's a date and you've got it on your calendar and you know somebody passed, bring them a card. Bring them a, hey, just thinking of you card, or something that says, man, I'm really thinking about you today, and here is a gift so that I can show it. So don't forget those important dates to that person. So things you can do, bring them a flower that you've picked in your front yard, right? Write them a love note, anything that it can be a very small gesture that's free, or all the way up to something really grand. But understand that it truly is that you are thinking about them and what they like. They want to know he or she took the time to think about me, and they got this, they went and got this for me. So don't stick an IOU in their stocking at Christmas, right? Don't do that. So, okay. So the next one is acts of service. So what to avoid here is, if you say you're going to do something, follow through. Hey, I'm going to take your car and wash it today. And then you don't go do it. Now, if you say, you know what, I was going to take your car and wash it today, but it's going to rain, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, that's different. But if you say, I'm going to go take your car and wash it, and then you come home and sit and watch TV or on your iPad or whatever, and you don't do it, right? Like, you're not being a person of your word, and that is going to stick out for them. So follow through on what you say, if at all possible. And if it's not, explain it, right? But like, it better be real. So things that you can do for acts of service, think about something that person does not like to do. For instance, if they like their bed made, but they hate making the bed, make the bed. So that would be something. Now, likewise, let's say I love tea. I love tea. I love herbal tea. I love chai tea. And let's say my primary love language is acts of service. If my husband got up and ran and got me a chai from somewhere and had the right kind of milk in it and all of that and brought it back to me, and I walked into the room and he had that chai sitting, or he comes through the door with it, right? Like, I love chai tea. He went and got me a chai tea. That is an act of service. So that is an example. Do something centered around something that person loves. Okay, so the final one is physical touch. So what to avoid? If my primary love language is physical touch, and I hope this doesn't happen whether it's mine or not, and you grab me harshly in an argument or whatever, if there is ever any negative physical touch, you shouldn't do that anyhow. Don't do that anyhow. But it is going to be so much worse for that person. Likewise, if you know my primary love language is physical touch, and you are trying to punish me because you're mad at me and you won't hug me, you won't touch me, and don't do that anyhow, right? Just don't do that anyhow. Those are both manipulative, negative. Don't do them anyhow. Okay, so things to do. And this doesn't necessarily mean sex, right? We don't have to talk about that, but hold hands when you're on a walk. Walk by and just, rub their back. Give them a side squeeze. Give them a hug when you're leaving, when you're coming back. You haven't seen them in a while. Give them that hug. Sit close to them when you're watching a movie, or if you go to the movies, kind of lean in, just touch, even if it's shoulder to shoulder. So those are some things that you can do for somebody with physical touch. So those are the 5. Now, if you don't know what somebody's primary love language is, start watching or ask. Or if you don't know, go and take the free assessment on Dr. Chapman's website. But now, if you know what somebody's is, you can also say, hey, I know your primary love language is ... How can I show that to you? Right? We are supposed to love selflessly. And although our natural inclination is to show others love in our primary love language, we have to be very aware. So for instance, my husband's primary is acts of service and mine is words of affirmation. So he'll go get gas in my car. And in his mind, he's telling me I love you. That doesn't mean it. Honestly, thanks for getting gas in my car, right? Thank you. I truly appreciate that. But that doesn't give me the ooey gooeys, right? Now, if I get dressed up and he's like, you look really nice. Woo, right? Like that. But see, words of affirmation are very hard for him. And so that is completely unnatural. But he has been, after years of marriage, he is really trying to speak that to me. So that's kind of it for the 5 love languages. So I'm curious, what is your...
Mine is the acts of service.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do people show you love through your love language?
Um, it's just little things. Like it can be as small. I can even just think of my daughter, like waking me up in the morning. Like
Yeah.
the big thing, you should brush your teeth. Like just little things like that. And I'm like, yeah, let's go brush our teeth together. Like just and through my studies too, I've learned how people have the way that they want to receive love, like you said, and the other person doesn't really know how to express it in the way that you want it. But at the same time, they're doing so much in order to recognize and be loved the way that they want to be loved. So we have
Mm-hmm.
these filters that we don't even realize sometimes we have. A good example in one of the books that I have from Alison Armstrong was she noticed that the garage door was open every time she came home, and she was always like, why does he have the garage door open? Like, someone's going to come in and steal our stuff. And he always texted before she was on her way, so he was welcoming her home every time. And so she didn't even realize how he was showing up for her. And then, once you realize it, and then you're just like, oh, so
Right.
emotional
Right. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, this whole time I didn't even see the way that this person was loving me.
Right. Right. I think it's also important that you understand all 5 and that you learn to be well versed in all 5. Because even though I have a primary love language of words of affirmation, that doesn't mean that the other 4 won't touch me, right? It
Yep.
won't touch me in the way of words of affirmation, but they will still touch me. So you can still do things in the other 4 love languages, but just really focus on their primary. So again, it is so important to learn about the 5, to learn how to speak the 5, because, if you're in a family and you have a spouse and then children, you better be learning what their love language is too. Because kids who leave the home and have never felt love, even though they were loved tremendously by their parents, if their parents didn't recognize their primary love language, they're going to leave home not feeling truly loved. And that's a whole other situation.
Oh, yeah.
So it is so important for coworkers, for your parents, for your siblings, for your close friends. I mean, it is so important to be able to recognize and to speak their primary love language.
Mhm. Yeah, and, going a step further is once you do learn, and maybe you're learning with your partner at the same time, it's also the reconciliation of not realizing.
Hmm.
When I get to women that are going through my program, a lot of times, that's a really hard week, is to sit there and say, "Hey, I'm going through a divorce and I'm realizing the shit that I did,"
Yeah.
and really own it. Excuse my
Right.
language, but
No, but you're absolutely right. It's necessary.
Mhm. And then
Yeah.
the forgiveness process, and, sometimes that stops the divorce when you really realize how that
Right.
person was showing up and you couldn't see it.
Right. And then you're right, taking that ownership, that responsibility, that's huge. And
Mm,
even if the divorce has happened and you are still in contact with that person, that will make future contact so much easier. It really will. Yeah. I
mhm.
like that. I like that.
So, let's see. So you have the assessment that's on Gary Chapman's website. We'll put that on in the description box. And then also you have so many assessments on your website that I've seen. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, they're not actually in. So let me talk about the Know Thyself community, which is what we talked about. So the Know Thyself community, it's called Know Thyself, a Glow and Grow community. And so this falls into either the intrapersonal, where it's self-talk area of communication, or the interpersonal, where it's relating with other people. So we are doing, it's in a soft launch right now. And so I wanted to actually let your audience know that right now, it's at a founder level price because I'm in the process of entering those kinds of things. And we will also be bringing in things monthly. And so those assessments will be being built into that. And they will be things like the love languages, your conflict style, your apology language. So like the 16 personalities, like all of those things that are so important to learn who you are. So those will be being built in, and we will be doing a book of the month club, and we'll be bringing in guest experts and community experts to do videos. So we'll have book resources and video training. And if you can't make it live, the replay will be there. So we are really building kind of a clearinghouse of resources all in one spot for you to really grow in who you are. And in doing that, you will be able to go and invest in others at a whole different level because you will understand who you are and you're working on yourself, right? Sometimes we're so quick to look at somebody else and think they need to change. But how often do we look at ourselves and go, I need to change? So that is really what it's about. So there will be a growing number of assessments on it, and I'm so excited about that. But I know I've sent you the link to include. So once we really get the community up and running, though, I will pull it away from the founder level and the monthly investment will increase. But if you come in at that founder level and it's $7 a month, I wanted to make it very doable for people. Now, again, it's going to increase, but $7 a month as long as you're in it. And if you leave and come back, then you will be coming back at that increased membership investment. So that monthly investment is what gets you all the stuff. And again, it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing in those resources. So that's the Know Thyself. And that is where those assessments will be coming in.
Yeah, and, you mentioned, like, books. I'm kinda
Yes.
curious, what kind of
Yes.
books are you thinking about putting in, like, your book club?
So I have. It's funny because I was going to start my book club in March because our community is small right now, but we do have people in. And then I got to thinking as I was preparing for this and going over the five love languages, I thought, oh my gosh, I could do the five love languages or one of the books that I have. I have several, like I said, several books on that. So I may just dip in real quick and say, okay, it's February, it's the month of love. We're going to go ahead and start the book club. Who's in? So definitely love something in February, but I have other books and I need to figure out the order to go. One of them, actually, I just happen to have some of I always have books. Like I always carry books with me. It's a whole thing. But anyhow, Peacemaker, this book is a book when I work with Peacemaker.
I haven't seen.
Let me hold it up again, but it is on my website. So the love languages link is on my website. Peacemaker is on my website. Grief recovery is on my website. So these are going to be some books that we're going through. Yeah, I have some other ones around, but anyhow, so these are definitely some of the books that we'll be going through. So we'll just pick a book of the month. I'll have a link for people to go purchase the book. Obviously, it's going to be virtual so that we can work with anybody. It's not going to be an in-person thing. And we'll just meet periodically in that month and say, rather than, okay, read these chapters, right? Because then people fall behind and then they feel guilty and then they don't show up because they haven't, So I want to make it more of, what have you read? Where are you? What really stood out to you? And it's just going to be a facilitated conversation about how impactful that material was. So people can go at their own pace without having to feel embarrassed. Oh, I'm still on chapter 1. Because what if somebody comes into the book club in the third week, but they really want to do it, right? Or let's say they get in week 1, but they've got a lot going on and they don't have time. The point is that you are learning something and it is making an impact in your life. That is the point. So that's how the book clubs will go.
Oh, I like that. That's different.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of meets people where they are.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we don't need to throw shame at people, right?
Right.
So I am not about, you haven't read, no, that's not who I am.
Oh,
Nope.
well, thank you so much for being on here today. Is there anything else you would like to say before
No,
we?
just that I love every time we talk. I have a lot of fun with you. I just feel like we're sisters, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
I just really appreciate you bringing me on and giving me a chance to talk about something that is truly important to me, which is love. My mom used to say, "Tracy, you love with your heart, your whole heart," and so that's just it's just a really important topic to me, and I think if we spent more time loving on other people, truly things would be different in this world. So thank you for letting me come on and thank you for giving me this topic, saying, what do you want to talk about? Well, it's February. Let's do love. And so I just appreciate that. Thank you.
Aw, thank you for coming on and connecting to my heart. I mean, just you talking about it, I was like, oh my gosh, I was thinking about my program and I was like, ah.
Right. And it's perfect. It's a perfect fit with what you do. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Down with the
wonderful.
heart.
Yeah, so I'm going to put all your information in the description box. I encourage
Mhm.
everyone to check it out. And yeah, I would love to have Tracy on again, and I'll be on her podcast in
Mhm.
March. So yeah, check me out there. So have a great day, everyone.
Bye.